I will never understand the hate that some people have for transgender people. It is pathetic. There are two groups of right-wingers. There are those who think transgender people are misled victims of a false leftist ideology. And then there are the mindless, hateful bigots, whose aversion to transgender people is obviously born out of disgust and nothing else. The latter account for the vast majority of the anti-transgender right. I think reasonable conversations do need to be had about things like women's sports and gender-affirming care for children. These are serious and important conversations. But these conversations have become almost impossible, because hate-driven lunatics have hijacked them for their own disgusting political purposes, which makes it almost impossible to have a serious, respectful conversation. The whole thing is just pathetic. They ask, what is a woman? As though we are seriously supposed to believe that being a man or being a woman boils down to genitals and chromosomes, with no other factors whatsoever. I know plenty of men and women. I recognise them as such in spite of having no clue what their chromosomes are or what is between their legs. And since when was this the conservative position? Gender is not just about genitals and chromosomes. It is a social role. Conservatives used to recognise that. There are plenty of people who have a penis who cannot seriously be called men. There is a hell of a lot more to being a man than just having a penis. But they have boiled gender down to the basics because they are so blinded by hatred of a tiny minority. They will throw the baby out with the bathwater to spite transgender people, discarding the conception of a masculine social role that has been a hallmark of traditional conservative thought. And now that idea has been discarded, thrown in the bin out of sheer spite for a tiny minority. It is disgraceful. The modern right is not driven by any conservative ideals, they are driven by sheer hatred. Being a man is not about genitals, it is about filling a serious social role and doing it properly. It is perfectly conceivable that a person who was born a female could grow to take up key aspects of that role. That is my view. And I think some goddamn respect is warranted. I respect bravery, I respect fearlessness, and being transgender certainly takes some guts. I can respect that. Even people who don't understand it should be able to respect that. Imagine it. It would not be a fun experience. You wouldn't do it unless you were really dedicated. The societal scorn you would face, you would have to be totally committed to being your truest self. I can respect that. Plenty of men are not that brave. They wouldn't go against societal norms and embrace such immense hatred. And these clowns ask, what is a woman? They pretend to be defenders of objective reality, when half of these anti-trans morons regard the word of the Bible as fact, and they are going to lecture us about reality. Are you kidding me? There are countless religious beliefs that we respect and tolerate that are infinitely more absurd than any theory of transgenderism. It is time to get a grip. I have little patience for the mindless anti-transgender rhetoric. At a time when the Republicans are trying to send transgender women into male prisons. When it is known they will be brutally raped over and over again. And people have the gall to pretend the transgender people are somehow creeps, when they want genital inspections here, there, and everywhere. That is what their deranged fixation demands. I have made this video because I am a person on the left who strongly dislikes major elements of the left. But transgender people are not one such element. And I will distance myself from the putrid, cancerous decay that the political right emanates on this subject.